previous session, we had heard about Azure pipeline. I think we had heard about CI/CD, what CI, what CI/CD, and how it works, what are the advantages. So we had heard about this. Now let's have a practical demo of this CI/CD here. Now pipeline, if you look at any pipeline, Azure pipeline, it has basic components like trigger. So the first component is trigger. The trigger defines when should pipeline run. तो ट्रिगर डिफाइन करता है कि पाइपलाइन कब रन होनी चाहिए. एग्जाम्पल, तो यहाँ पर ट्रिगर में लिखा है ट्रिगर मेन. So what is the meaning of this? So whenever a code is pushed to main branch, the pipeline will start executing. So whenever you push the code to a main branch, pipeline will start executing. It will run the pipeline. Agent executes the pipeline. The agent is responsible for execution of the pipeline. Full VM image. U1 to latest. So by this we are telling to the Azure, please use U1 to latest agent. Now Azure provides you Windows agent also, Linux agent, Mac agent. So you can use any of the agent, but Linux agent is more popular because it is less costly. So what agent will do? So agent will create one instance of VM where this pipeline runs or executes. So once the pipeline finishes, it will delete the VM. So we are using a VM Ubuntu latest, or you can use Windows agent also, Linux or Mac agent. Now next concept that we have is a stage. The next concept we have the stage. Stage is a phase, major phase, not minor phase. Stage is a phase. For example, build phase, test phase, deploy phase. Actual pipeline. So what happens in the pipeline? The pipeline will be having the build stage, test stage, and deploy stage. Now, job is a group of tasks that you want to perform. The build job, unit test job, deploy job. Right. Build job, unit test job, deploy job. Now, step is the actual, we can say, step that you want to execute. Actual command that you want to execute. Step. Example steps can be script.NET restore, will execute.NET restore, script.NET build, script.NET test, script. So we'll create one demo here. So trigger, stage, job, pipeline, step. We'll use our student API, or we'll create a student management API, and we'll create the pipeline. So using this student management API. You go to the Visual Studio here. Let's say create new. ASP.NET Core application here. So we'll put some name to this particular project. Institute CRM. Now I'll say Azure DevOps. So we'll say pipeline. We'll say select folder. I'll create the project. तो यहाँ पर हम क्या बनाने वाले हैं? तो एक project बनाएंगे first with controllers, models, and we'll create one project for testing also. What pipeline will do? So we'll push the code. Developer push the code. Azure Repo. So developer push the code in Azure Repo. Pipeline trigger हो जाएगी. Restore packages. Build project. Run unit tests. Publish artifact. Store build output. तो जैसे डेवलपर रेपो में कोड पब्लिश करेगा, पुश करेगा, तो पाइपलाइन ट्रिगर हो जाएगी, पैकेजेस रिस्टोर हो जाएगी, प्रोजेक्ट बिल्ड हो जाएगा, टेस्ट रन हो जाएगी, आर्टिफैक्ट भी पब्लिश हो जाएगा एंड स्टोर द बिल्ड आउटपुट को स्टोर कर देगा. तो इसलिए हम एक प्रोजेक्ट बना रहे हैं. यहाँ पर कुछ अलग एग्जाम्पल है. मैंने इंस्टीट्यूट सीआरएम बना लिया. Let's add some code here. So at the first step, so what we'll do is we'll add controllers folder here. Add the models folder here. Add a class. Now, so we'll create a static method. I'll add API. Post API. So it's a get courses. Get courses. I'll go to program.cs. Okay, before program.cs, we'll install the Swagger. तो यहाँ पर बोलेंगे builder dot services dot add controllers, add API endpoint explorer, add Swagger gen, map controller. ठीक है. I'll add the app dot use Swagger. This app dot use Swagger UI. Okay. Run करके देखते हैं if everything is working. We'll push it into Azure Repo. Everything is working. We'll add it to the Azure Repo. So how we can add? So let's add a source controller, get, go to the Azure DevOps. So select the organization, project name. तो प्रोजेक्ट नेम यहाँ पर नहीं आ रहा, तो वी haven't created a project, so we'll create a new project because already इसमें हमने कुछ कर रखा है एनालिटिक्स सीआरएम में. एक नया प्रोजेक्ट बनाता है, इंस्टीट्यूट सीआरएम. Now we'll not worry about work items and all this right now. We would add source git. This is Azure DevOps. This is Institute CRM. क्या बनाया मैंने? ओके, तो प्रोजेक्ट के साथ एक एम्प्टी रिकॉर्ड भी बन गया है. Okay, to save the time, we'll put some name to this repository. Also create and publish. Now it did the git change event here. We'll say push. Now go to the Azure repos here. यहाँ पर आपके पास रिपोजिटरी आपका आ गया है, इनिशियल रिपोजिटरी. ना ये जो रिपोजिटरी है इसको हम डिलीट कर देते हैं यहाँ से. ओके, तो रिपोर्टरी में आपके पास कोड आ गया। Now, next thing, we'll add one test project to that. अच्छा, दोनों एक साथ करना चाहिए था, ठीक है। तो एक टेस्ट प्रोजेक्ट ऐड करेंगे। It will add its reference to student management API. तो टेस्टिंग के लिए प्रोजेक्ट ऐड कर रहे हैं, सो प्रोजेक्ट ऐड न्यू, ऐड द प्रोजेक्ट विद एक्स यूनिट। तो एक्स यूनिट टेस्ट प्रोजेक्ट में ऐड कर रहे हैं। तो we'll say institute crm dot test. Now here you can create the test cases. So we call it in fact. So by default, it's creating in fact here. We'll add the reference of this particular project into Institute CRM. यहाँ पर एक fact है, so fact में suppose you can put any name. So right now, we'll add the reference of this test project to Institute CRM. So right click here, say add a project. Institute CRM test, will say okay. Now we can write some code in a test, but right now I'm not writing any testing logic. I'll just return the true. Assert dot true. So when we return assert dot true, it means testing is successful. If you want, we can change the name of this test. Course create or we'll say course tests. We'll say course create test. Right now, we'll not worry about the code from this. We'll build it again. Now I'll go to Git changes here. You'll find the new changes here. You can add it to a stage and then you can commit, or you can directly commit all of them. Now I'm not creating a branch. It's a good practice to create the branch and pull request everything. So we already learned it. So we'll not put the effort in it. I will commit this directly to your main branch, master branch. So test project added. That's a commit all. So we'll just push this to repository by clicking on this button. Now let's refresh this. You'll find your test project here with course test. And everything is in the master branch. Now the next step, so what we'll do, we'll build a solution and we'll use it. Push the code to Azure Repo, ये हमने कर लिया already. Verify the code appears, वो भी हमने कर लिया. We'll say create pipeline. So let's go to create the pipeline. So next option that we have in Azure DevOps is pipeline. So we had a word about boards, then we had a word about repos. Now we are in a pipeline. In the pipelines, so it's a create pipeline here. So you can create three types of pipeline. Now, Azure pipelines may, what is one more interesting thing is, so here we have code as a pipeline. So you create the pipeline by writing the code. So in many other tools, so we have the connectors for actions and triggers together, connected through each other to execute some workflow. जैसे हमने लॉजिक ऐप में देखा था. So we can create we can connect to, we can say three types of code. So where is your code? Azure Repo Git. If you have your code in Azure Repo Git, we can select it. Or GitHub. If your code is in GitHub, so select it. Bitbucket Cloud. So YAML. So right now our code is in Azure Repos Git. So select it. So select the option. So we'll select the option. The Azure, we can say Repo Git. So select your project. So for which project you are using this pipeline, so you can have all the projects here. So I'll do it for Institute CRM. And I'll select the repository. So I'll select your final repository. So one project can have the multiple repositories that we already know. So whatever the repository that you want to connect with this pipeline, so you can select that repository in the previous step. Now then you can configure your pipeline using various templates. So here we have the best option is AS.NET. Build and test AS.NET projects that is specially designed for AS.NET to them. AS.NET Core to build and test AS.NET, we can say core projects targeting the .NET framework. .NET Desktop. So if you have the Windows Classical Desktop solution, Universal Windows Platform UWP. Then we have the Xamarin Android or Xamarin iOS. So right now, so we have the starter pipeline and existing Azure pipelines YML. If you have the existing pipeline, if you want to pull that particular YML to create or configure this pipeline, you can click on this. Right now, I'll use the starter pipeline. So start with minimal pipeline that you can customize to build and deploy your code. So select this starter pipeline optional tab. So once you click on the starter pipeline option, so it will show you the YML code. In the YML code, we have the trigger, colon master, pool, so VM image, Ubuntu latest, steps, dash dash script, echo hello, and display name, run one line script. and the script. This is the sample YAML file for your pipeline. Now let's create our YAML file. So to create the YAML file, first let us understand the pipeline content, trigger, pull, and steps. There are the three basic components of your, we can say, Azure pipeline. Trigger will start the execution of pipeline. Pull is the agent which will actually execute the pipeline. And steps are the actual step that is performed during the execution of your pipeline. And script allow to specify the what script you want to execute. So in our case, so what is pool? So pool defined build agent. So you already know the trigger. So trigger वापस बताने की जरूरत नहीं. So pool define the build agent. So VM image and 2 letters. So Azure creates. So basically क्या होगा? So Azure creates a temporary Linux VM virtual machine. So developer pushes the code. It will create Azure VM. So it creates the Linux VM, runs the pipeline, destroy the VM. Because to execute the pipeline, so you need computing resources, you need a memory and storage, and how these things will be get available to you through agent. And to use the agent, we'll use the pool. So you can pull multiple agents if you want to create multi-stage pipeline. Right now we are building single stage pipeline. So the compute resource and memory will be made available to your pipeline execution process using this agent. And we are using Linux Ubuntu agent that is most cheapest option. So Azure creates a temporary VM, runs pipeline, destroys the VM. Now the next thing that we have is, so the first thing that we do is, so we'll create a trigger, main. Then second thing that we'll do is we'll define the agent. So we'll pull the agent. And third thing that we'll do is, so we'll install the SDK. So we'll create this tabs to install the SDK. So we'll say add dash task use .NET address 2. So this will install the .NET SDK. So it will create a task to install the .NET SDK of that. And for the task, we are specifying the input. This is the content of your YAML file. So input, so package type SDK and the version number. So what are the version number that you want to install? So that need to be installed because when you push the code, so your pipeline will build the code. And to build the code, you need a .NET SDK that will be get installed in your agent, that is your VM, where that code will be built. So by this, we are telling to, we can say, Azure pipeline, please install .NET SDK version 8.0.x. You can use any version. So purpose, so install .NET 8 SDK. Without SDK, .NET build cannot be executed. So how we can build your application? And the next step, so we'll restore all the packages. So we'll execute the script. And in the script, we'll say restore .NET restore. Display name will be restore packages. This will be outputted here. Now .NET restore. Now what this restore will do, it will download all necessary packages like your entity framework, Log, Swagger, Fluent Validation. What are the packages that you had installed? Fine. Now, why we need, so when you push the code in your repo, sorry. Now, if you look at your file, here we have the institute CRM, we have the controllers file, models file, properties file, program.cs file, git attribute, git ignore, institute CRM solution, test file, but you'll not find any bin file, debug file, a release file. So those will not be get published in your repo. When you push the code, those files will not be part of your repo. Now, why so? Because if you go to your project and if you open the यहाँ दिख नहीं रहा hidden file and if you open this git ignore file, you'll find something here. So git ignore file allows to specify what folders, files, or directories need to be ignored while pushing it into your code into a repo. And here we have the list. So these are the files or folders that will not be the part of your repo when you push the code to remote repos. So there are many list of files. You can modify this. If you want to skip some file or add some files here, you can add. So it will not include debug public release. So releases bin obj. So कोई भी folder नहीं जाएगा. ये folders repo में नहीं जाते. And if these folders are not available, so you cannot publish that app. So these folders will be get created when you build the application. And to build the application, and these folders will be there inside your application. So if you open this application inside your folder, so if you go to the project here, you'll find the bin folder, obj folder, bin will have the debug folder, and this will be the your actual, we can say, copy, deployment copy that you need to deploy to web server. So these files are not the part of repo. So how pipeline will generate this file? By restoring and building your .NET application. And to restore the .NET application, so we need to install all the necessary packages. So this script will restore all the necessary packages then. Now then we'll say build project. So similar to restore, we need a build script and we'll say .NET build, then we can have the configuration parameter release. So by this parameter, we are telling that, so build this project for release, not the debug. Display name build application. So equivalent to .NET build. So what this will do, it will check the syntax errors, compile the errors, missing references, everything. And it will notify the errors if build get failed. And if build get failed, the next step or next stage from the pipeline will not be executed. So it will be aborted. 9. So next thing that we have is, so by chance if anything happens, build get failed, it will abort the next thing. Now next thing we need to write a script to execute the test. And to execute this test, we have the command .NET test. So dash script colon .NET speech test dash configuration release. So display name run unit test. So this script will execute the test of that. So pipeline execute test. So it will run this particular test and it will get you the result. So past one failed you. If any of the test failed, the next step from the pipeline will be aborted. And it will get you the errors. Now publish the application. So next step that we have is we can publish the application. So for that, we need to execute the script .NET publish. And display name is publish application. The purpose, generate deployment files. तो जनरेट डिप्लॉयमेंट फाइल्स को जनरेट करेंगे तो आउटपुट कहाँ पर आएगा पब्लिश फोल्डर के अंदर. So this publish folder contains DLLs, configuration, dependencies, everything that is required to deploy your application. So once build and publish is successful, the next thing that we have is artifact. So publish artifact. So publish artifact will create a deployable package. So it will create a RAR file or zip file that will be the final file that you need to deploy in your web server. Fine. The publish artifact, the artifact equal to deployable package. So here we'll add the task. So it's a publish build artifacts at date one. What are the input? So part to publish, the build directory, so artifact name, so project name of that. The result, it will create the artifact for your project, and that is your final copy that you need to deploy in a web server. So this will be stored inside. So pipeline artifact, so complete first pipeline. तो यहाँ पर पूरा कोड है पाइपलाइन का कंप्लीट कोड है. So you need to just put this code into this pipeline here. So here the code, so I'll show the code again. Trigger main. So agent you want to latest steps. So install the .NET SDK, run the script .NET restore, run the script .NET build, run the script .NET test, run the script .NET publish, then run the run the task to create a publish artifact. Now here, so I want to create an artifact with the name Institute CRM. I'll just copy this YAML code and we'll paste it here. इस YAML कोड को हम कॉपी कर रहे हैं और यहाँ पर इसको पेस्ट कर रहे हैं. This is save and run. तो इसको हम सेव करके रन कर रहे हैं. So set up CI with Azure pipelines here. You can add any commit. So commit में जो भी message आपको add करना, you can add here. You can have the complete description here. And you can commit directly into the master branch, and if you have some, if you want to create a new branch and if you want to commit it into that particular branch, you can do that into the branch. So I'll just commit it into the master branch. So this is save and run. So we are just created this particular pipeline here. Now I'll wait for, we can say, for some time. So right now, 21 seconds get passed. I'll find the changes here. The stage started. The 0 stages completed, 18 seconds. Then job started, 20 seconds. So it will take little time to execute. Okay, job completed. So one artifact is generated. You can click on this stage and you can find out what happened in this particular job. इस जॉब में क्या क्या वो दिखाएगा. तो सबसे पहले इनिशियलाइज जॉब चेकआउट द इंस्टीट्यूट सीआरएम. तो इंस्टीट्यूट सीआरएम को उसने चेकआउट किया. चेक कैन आई रिसाइज दिस. यहाँ पर आपको देख रहा होगा. तो चेकआउट द इंस्टीट्यूट सीआरएम एडेट मास्टर टू एस. यूज डॉटनेट. So restore packages, build application, run unit test, publish application. हर एक स्टेप का जो यहाँ पर आपको डिटेल्स मिल जाएगा. Then publish artifact. तो डिटेल लॉग यहाँ पर आपको मिलेगा. नाउ पुट जॉब चेकआउट यहाँ पर मिलेगा आपको. फाइनलाइज जॉब एंड देन रिस्टोर बिल्ड स्टेटस. Now I'll go back here. So here you'll get the release folder. And you'll get also OBJ folder. तो आपका जो पाइपलाइन है वो सक्सेसफुली एग्जीक्यूट हो गया. तो यहाँ पर आप पब्लिश में जाओगे. You'll find your institute CRM 48 MB का है. उस पर एक्सपांड करोगे तो प्रीवियसली मैंने आपको दिखाया था कि आपके प्रोजेक्ट में पिन फोल्डर नहीं मिलेगा, रिलीज फोल्डर भी नहीं मिलेगा. ये ऑटोमेटिकली यहाँ पर क्रिएट हो गया, आपका प्रोजेक्ट बिल्ड हो गया. ओबीजे फोल्डर भी आपको यहाँ पर मिल रहा है. गिव में मिनट. कुछ और भी मिलना चाहिए आपको. यहाँ पर तो यू विल ऑल्सो गेट द पब्लिश फोल्डर. And this publish folder has the copy that we can publish it. इस पब्लिश फोल्डर को डाउनलोड करके आप क्या कर सकते हैं, तो आपके वेब सर्वर में डिप्लॉय कर सकते हैं. You can download this and you can deploy it. Okay. Now what we'll do, so अभी यहाँ पर okay, so perfect then. Now let's modify your application. So we go to the models folder, and if we add one more model class, student, student name, email ID, the mobile number. Now suppose we create a small constructor in the student. Okay, काफी है. So it's a class. Front API. So it's a controller will inherit it from controller base. Will apply the API control attribute. Then we'll apply the root API controller. Get written this student here. Now first we'll test the code, check the code, whether the code is working or not. Now here we'll say Swagger to get student. We are getting the code. Everything is perfect. Now let's commit this to the main branch. Now I'll push it here. So once we push it, Now it should trigger it automatically. Automatically trigger नहीं होगा. Let's check the repo. रेपो में कोड नहीं है. अच्छा सॉरी. तभी रेपो में चेंज हो गया है क्योंकि हमने पहले उसको बिल्ड किया. लेवल से पुश. Now go to pipelines. पहले रेपोज में देखते हैं क्या अभी यहाँ पर go to the pipeline से हम ओके ऑटोमेटिक ट्रिगर नहीं हो रहा. Let's click on the run new. एक ही रन दिखा रहा. मास्टर चाहिए वहां पर. तो यहाँ पर ट्रिगर जो है उसमें मेन लिखा था. अभी यहाँ पर देखोगे तो स्टार्ट हो गया. यहाँ पर अभी एग्जीक्यूट हो रहा है। सो ब्रांच नेम गलत हो गया था। यहाँ गड़बड़ हो गई थी। So one artifact is generated here. तो नया आपको पब्लिश कॉपी मिल जाएगा। Now let's try this once more. It's a demo API. Sorry. Try the demo API here. Now when you commit, अभी आपका जो प्रोजेक्ट है उसमें चेंजेस हो गया होगा। तो पहले पुल एंड पुश बोलेगा। And we'll push it here. Now report में जाके देखते पहले। So go to the pipelines here. तो तीसरा एग्जीक्यूशन ऑटोमेटिकली स्टार्ट हो गया। So it'll take some time and it will create the build, release, publish. It will do everything. Now this is CI. Now we'll go for CD tomorrow. So CD को हम कल देखते will integrate with some web server or other app service or container somewhere, so that when you publish the code in the repo, so it will be, we can say, available on your web application. तो अभी वेब एप्लीकेशन हम नहीं देख पा रहे हैं क्योंकि पब्लिश कॉपी दे रहा है। वेब एप्लीकेशन आपको मैन्युअली उस पर्टिकुलर कॉपी को डाउनलोड करके डिप्लॉय करना पड़ेगा मैन्युअली। तो उसको भी हम कल क्या कर देते हैं, ऑटोमेट कर देते हैं। तो जैसे हमने पब्लिश किया तो विथ वन अप्रूवल डिप्लॉय हो जाएगा कहीं पर, या फिर विदाउट अप्रूवल भी ट्राई करेंगे, फिर डायरेक्ट डिप्लॉय हो जाएगा। ठीक है, तो एक आर्टिफैक्ट जनरेट हो गया यहाँ पर। ओके, तो आज इसको यही छोड़ रहे हैं। तो इसमें कोई डाउट है, क्वेरी है तो पूछ लो।